AIM as a program sought to create great citizens for the country, and that resonates well with what perhaps Swami Vivekananda envisaged as well. So today we have four aimers, all four of them currently work for Tech Mahindra. There is Shakti, there is Akshay. So Shakti is based in Qatar, in Doha, handles the Vodafone account there, and he just came off a very busy football season, World Cup season. Akshay is his neighbor in Muscat, and Akshay handles the Ooredoo account as his client partner. Vishakha is based in London. She's the regional alliance manager, but at this point in time, she is in Hyderabad on a short break. And on the screen, Chitra is based in London as well. And she's part of the client partner team of Vodafone, based there. And it's very early for her. It's 7 o'clock. So Chitra, we're going to cut you some slack. And hopefully, you'll join in and pitch in as and when. So without much further ado, let me jump in and start with the question. So what we will do is that we will break this session into two parts. On part one, we'll talk about the general aspirations of the youth, their fears, their concerns, their motivations. And I have some questions which I'll pass around. And then the second part is we'll specifically talk about AIM and how AIM made an impact in your life, what did you learn, etc., etc. So that's what we will do. So I start off with, I've got it listed here, I'm reading it out. Start off with Shakti Charan, the football man. And the question to you, Shakti, is what are the main challenges and issues that young people face, and how can they be addressed?
Right. So firstly, thank you, KG. It's a privilege to be here. Thanks a lot for inviting. And to answer that question, I take a bit of inspiration from Simon Sinek and my personal experience of the same as well. I would like to categorize it into four parts. We have four main challenges that I believe our generation is facing. The first is, the instant gratification. So we are in this era where everything is on our fingertips in a jiffy, which is convenient, but at the same time, it leads us to becoming an impatient generation for no fault of ours because of easier access to food, groceries, travel, even dating apps, which is coming about. So everything becomes easy, which leads to a possible impatience. How can that be addressed? I believe, putting a time limit on the access of these applications. I personally put a 15-minute time limit each day. So that is the first challenge. The second challenge we as a generation face is social media induced anxiety, FOMO, fear of missing out, etc. It's very natural when we see everybody having a great time. That's what social media is meant to display. Talking to our senior generation helps. Our parents, our uncles, our aunts, they tend to calm us down. So that is the second challenge. The third is, KG, what I've observed, and this happens with me as well, there's a decline in our reading and writing skills. So we are more into a Twitter and Instagram generation. So I personally subscribe to The Economist, trying to read maybe one article a day and journaling every day, hopefully. So this can overcome that challenge. And the last one is, the good thing is we have too many career options. The thing which needs some focus is we have very little guidance. So actively seeking out mentoring with coaches and people senior in our organization, in our network, is something that can help us out.
Phenomenal. Thank you. And as usual, very succinct, very valuable. I'm sure there's a lot of value for people watching this. I'll move to Vishakha with this. Next question. How do young people define success, and what are their goals and aspirations, Vishakha?
Thanks, KG, and really happy to be a part of this chat today. And this is my opinion. I think as a generation, we have more than just monetary goals. We want to be financially independent at a very young age. And there are different aspects that we want to concentrate on, which is a sound mental health. We are a generation that has seen the pandemic, so we don't take our family for granted anymore. We don't take traveling for granted anymore. We want to concentrate on our hobbies and all these different things. So what as a generation we are doing is we're keeping our eggs in different baskets. We are not, so that if one of them collapses, we have a support system to sustain us. So that to me is an ideal professional success that we should aim for.
Yeah, I mean, I think we spoke about this, and I keep talking about this analogy. I'm an analogy man, you know that. It is the desktop of your life will have many open windows. There's an open window for hobby, there's an open window for family, there's an open window for health, there's an open window for work. So what you're telling me is don't maximize the work window. And number one, and number two, alt tab between the various windows to use a IT language, because most of us here are IT folks. Alt tab, fabulous. Chitra, I'll come to you. I know it's early time. What do you think are the best ways to celebrate and recognize achievements and contributions of youngsters? Because they are different breed, like the way Vishaka talks about, the way Shakti talks about instant gratification generation. How do you recognize them and how do you celebrate their achievements so that you get the best out of them?
Right. Thank you so much for inviting me for this talk, KG. So I think even to start with, AIM training itself is a celebration of the talent inside you. And it kind of brings out that starting out as an engineer, how talent is recognized and how talent is celebrated in the organization. And right after the training also, even when you start working with leaders, small wins should be just at least be appreciated, or just even when I closed my first deal, my boss made sure that it was shared within the organization, and then he just then enabled me to have extended training in this particular area where I did well, to make sure that as I go forward, although I succeed, I also grow along with it. So it might not be what the older generation wanted, but we would like to be appreciated. And it's not always about monetary, it's always about just celebrating with us the small wins from where we came from to where we are. So that is one way I would suggest, KG.
Yeah. So if you paraphrase that, you say that, being nominated for some specific programs is an appreciation. Broadcasting your catching people doing right and broadcasting small achievements or wins is what you say are areas which will motivate youngsters. Fine, fantastic. Akshay from Muscat, the Oridu man. What strategies do you use to manage stress and maintain mental health and well-being? Vishaka talked about that, but what's your strategy?
So I think, KG, first of all, we all are living in a world where success is critical, and we all are driven by that. In that race, it's really important that we take care of the mental health. Unlike any of the, other aspects of physical, where you can actually see, mental health is something which is not seeable, right? And it's really important to identify, gather knowledge. That is first part. The second thing is, it's really important that we become disciplined in our own life, and we need to understand how we can hack our hormones. So we have hormones like oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, endorphins. It's really important that we understand how our body functions and hack those hormones to work for us on a daily basis. Like oxytocin is a love hormone. You're staying close to your family. You have pets. That releases oxytocin in the body, right? Similarly with dopamine, you do exercises, helps you maintain your physical exercise and your body health about it. Serotonin, you're not feeling good, take a walk in the park, or maybe spend some time in the nature, listening to music. The last thing I would say is we also need to take a lot of time for our hobbies, learning something new, doing something which gives you satisfaction on a daily basis, just apart from work, really helps you alleviate a lot of mental stress from a day-to-day activities. We all work in a very high stress environment. So being connected to yourself at the very root is very critical in terms of, supporting yourself mentally.
Fantastic. You're talking about the same Simon Sinek's dose. Dose is dopamine,
Yes.
oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin. And this is exactly what, in some way, both Vishaka and Shakti referred to. I think, Nishant and Saurabh, you must be prepared. Towards the end, we will toss the ball to you and see what you do with the ball, right? So far, so good. Thanks. We will now jump in specifically into the AIM thing. Before that, one last question, which any one of you can pick up, any one of the four of you can pick up, which is, I have constantly used the word learnability. That's almost my word. There's no such word in English. Learnability, right? Learnability is a word I've constantly used. How important is it, especially for youngsters? And have you personally worked on this skill or quality? Any one of you can pick it up.
I can pick it up, KG.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is an extremely fast-paced world we are living in. So when I started out in college as a cloud engineer, I think metaverse was just an idea, and just fast forward 2 to 3 years, we are in the reality. We are living in the meta world and the metaverse, as we say. So it's always very important to keep yourself flexible and keep an open mindset to learn new technologies, learn new things in life. Otherwise, you become rigid and not relevant in this industry. So from a personal experience, some things I have incorporated is that after coming to Europe, I made sure that I do a lot of traveling, and during I do a lot of solo travels. So many of my travels, I've interacted with the locals. I learned their culture, the way they do business, the way they live. So it has influenced me so much that I already started learning 2 new languages, which is French and Korean, 2 very different things. But I just want to make sure that next time I go to France, I am speaking in the local language. And when I go to Korea, I definitely, because I don't think they're very big on English. So and my love for the language and the culture. So this is how I incorporate learnability into my life.
Wow. So you're actually making use of the learning muscle by not just learning, let's say, Python or sales skills, but you're learning a new language. Maybe you learn to cycle, maybe you learn to swim, whatever it is. So the learnability muscle is so very important. Fantastic. I think we'll now move into AIM and specific, because that's where all of us, got together. That's where things changed for many of us, including me. And Shakti, I want to ask you, tell us about the most difficult part of the AIM training and how did you come to terms with it?
Right, KG. So the most difficult part, I would say, is without doubt the virtual training, wherein we were part of our existing projects for a couple of months, and then we had to undergo coursework related to AIM, be it sales training, behavioral training, organizational processes, offerings, etc. And we had to attend a lot of telecalls and assignments on a daily basis, where we were monitored and tracked on a daily basis. I faced a few challenges, which I'll tell briefly. How I overcame that, it was psychologically and logistically. The challenge is I was working in 24/7 shifts. It used to be rotational, 1 week morning, next week night, the week after evening. So this would add to this fact that, I was staying in a 3 sharing room with bed bug infested, power cuts, frequent water shortages, food was not up to the mark. So all of these put together, it caused, juggling everything together. It was a challenge. So how I overcame that psychologically is that, I told myself that these 2 months of hard work is going to be worth it in future. From what I spoke to senior aimers and what I understand, how much of a boost their career got. So I used to motivate and inspire myself that way by talking to senior aimers. Logistically, I used to purchase this Geo 4G connection device. I used to carry it around whenever there was a power cut, or I used to visit the nearby cafe coffee day, or even though I wasn't in the shift, I used to go back to office and find some conference room and connect to internet over there to attend a conference call. So this way, psychologically and logistically, I addressed the biggest challenge of virtual training, wherein flexible, juggling different things at one time, time management and pressure management, essentially.
Wow. And we spoke about another lady in the team from the batch of Chitra and Vishaka, who also face enormous problems, family side and so on and so forth. Yeah. So we will move to, and this is a question, well, I'm directing to Chitra, but anybody can pick it up. What does Padi Hai mean to you in your daily life, and how have you incorporated it in your work life? Chitra, you want to start, but anybody can jump in.
Yeah, of course. Padihe means that you do not stop until you succeed for me. After the training, that's what I mean. Hundreds of obstacles might come in your way for even a small task, but Padihe means that I need to close that or I need to get that outcome. Maybe I'll take a personal example over here. So when I came here, I because of the pandemic, the visa never came to me. So I had to run through hoops, jump through hoops. I had to speak to the regional level people. I had to speak to the Indian embassy. I had to go to the British High Commission to even just to understand where it has got lost. And it was during the pandemic time, and I had to take help from a lot of people. I had to go during train strikes, but at that time I could have just given up, and I could have just waited, saying, "Oh, hey, it will just come to me, or it will come on its own time." But I took that initiative. I made sure that I got it by hook or crook, and finally I received it after 2 months of persistence. And the people at the High Commission was so surprised that they have never seen someone chasing them so much to an end that they had to give it to me after two months. So that's a personal experience I want to say about Padi Hai, and this is similar in my professional life also. So I would just ask any of my team in the call to add on to what I said.
Vishaka, Shakti, anybody wants to jump in?
I'll just add to that, KG. In day-to-day life, and as you go deeper into your role, your list of to-dos keeps on increasing to 20 to 30. So it's very important to filter it out. Like, I have a could-do list, I have a should-do list, and will-do list. Once you have that will-do list of 5 or 4 tasks, just make sure you own it up and make sure it closes till the very end. That is Padi Hai for me. Be very choosy of what you take it up, and then just go through with it, take it up and take it to the closure. That's it.
Wow. Would do, should do, will do. New. That's your IPR. Good. Anyone else?
Yeah, just a couple of instances. Yeah, Akshay, you say.
No, just putting it into other words, KG, Padi Hai is more about accountability, and within the Tech Mahindra, if I have to just put it, we all go through processes which we find at certain point are somewhere broken, right? Or the people are not taking up things in that urgent manner in which we want things to be driven. So for me, Padi Hai means is driving from the grassroots to the submission of, if it's a bid, to the submission of that bid to the customer, and ensuring that all the processes, people, everything fall in place. I think it's the biggest mantra that helps us deliver anything on the ground. Without which,
as I've said to you that it is also a curse, because many times you'll be, "Main hi kyun?" Why me all the time? Mujhe hi kyun padi hai? Why not?
Yes.
But yeah, I guess the opiate of that is. We'll come to you, Saurabh, and we'll ask the same question of you a little later. Nishant, I'm sure you are raring to go. I can see that in your body language. So one more question coming up which is to Vishaka. What would be your advice to young professionals wishing to learn from KG as a coach or mentor? Now, the reason I ask this question is that very soon we will, you'll see we will launch something which is, well, not AIM, but trying to be as good as AIM for people out in the market wanting to learn and become better versions of themselves. So with that in mind, Vishaka, what would be your advice to such professionals wishing to learn from KG how to get the best?
Okay, so before that, I want to tell all the participants in the call, I have worked with KG, not just in my AIM stint, but also after it in EBS when I was a part of SAP Alliance. And KG sir mentored us, me and two other people in our team. It's going to be it's not easy, but it's going to be an experience of a lifetime, because you'll come out being a more confident and a more polished person and ready to face the challenges in your life. But one key thing that I will never forget is, I was more of a mad about perfectionism, okay? But then I realized perfection is overrated. If you have 60% of the work done and it's an urgent work, don't wait for 100% and then submit it to your management or take it ahead. If it's 60%, go with it. It's urgent, complete your work, because sometimes best is the enemy of good. These are KG's words that I'm repeating. So just take it in your stride, and it's going to be an experience of a lifetime. That is my key learning.
Anyone else wants to pitch in to add to this? What she says is, with KG, to get the best out of him, best is the enemy of good. Make it happen. Speed is of the essence. Ship the product. Don't wait for perfection. There's another new one there. You may not have heard of this new mantra of mine. It is okay to ask for forgiveness than wait for permission.
Absolutely.
It is okay to ask for forgiveness than wait for permission. Anyway, anybody wants to add?
Yeah, just a couple of pointers. With KG, two things which I personally learned is having immense attention to detail. So I think that's a subset of Padhi hai, because when we take complete ownership of our work, we need to know all the, we need to know everything to nuts and bolts of whatever we do, and that kind of trickles down to our daily lives as well, which is a very positive thing. And the other is, which I've learned with KG, and I'm still improving at it, is start at the end. So that's a very famous quip, and it's so applicable, KG. I mean, even with the customer, even in our daily lives, rather than going on a ramble of an entire 2-minute preamble or a speech, starting at the end just cuts it short. Within 10-15 seconds, the message gets conveyed across. Being succinct, essential.
Attention to detail. The other was on the call. He's my social media guy. I am paying him to train him. Because attention to detail is something he still needs to get into. If you noticed, our first post was 2022, right? He put that. And then we had to apologize, change it. And I'm making it public. It's okay. That's another thing. I'll ring people and hang them out to dry. Which is what I'm doing to him now on this call. Yeah, fantastic. Shakti, Vishakha, Chitra is done. Which part of the soft skills training did you benefit from the most, Akshay?
So, KG, apart from the soft skills, I would say the most important thing I learned out of all of this was to empathize with the people, and to understand, when you're talking to your customers, not just the pain points, but how you can get inclusive to their life, to understand their personal aspects of things, to feel what they are feeling. So those things are really important to form a genuine connection, a genuine relationship. So that is one of the biggest things that I learned. I'm just picking up one example where whenever I'm traveling, and we have a lot of Indian customers also here. So you get medicines from India, because buying here requires a certain sort of prescription and a process again. So whenever you're traveling, you get some things which they require. Another example is one of my friends, again a customer, was about to travel, and he figured out that his bank accounts were freezed. The first person he calls is me. So he said, something has happened. His properties in Dubai, UK, everywhere. So there were some transactions, and the bank kind of freeze for no such reason. But then he wanted that money, and he was about to travel to UK. So he just gave me a call and said, can you lend me X amount of dollars? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So that is the amount of trust that you were able to build. And this is something which I really learned from the AIM training, understanding people in a much better way, developing those genuine relationships. This was my biggest takeaway, KJ.
Yeah, it's a long journey, right? I'm already beginning. Your language has changed. Can you lend me some amount of dollars? That's what you said, right? Your language currency has changed. And hopefully this guy will write you one of those properties in your name, right? Uh, did we talk about stress? We spoke about stress. Besides Padi Hai, what else have you incorporated in your life from the training? Padi Hai, of course, is the main theme. But besides that, what else have you incorporated that you think has made an impact? Anyone else? Anyone can take a shot. I think after this, I'm going to slightly open the floor and ask Nishant and Saurabh. Anyone wants to take a shot? Besides, but Padi Hai is, of course, the subliminal, overarching theme. But anything that you specifically learned that you incorporated in your life?
Sir, I remember once, I gave you a call at about 4:30 in the afternoon. I wanted a leave or something like that. It was back, I think 6 years ago. And you picked up the call, and the first thing you said is, have empathy. And someone must be sleeping. So, that thing, it struck me कि भैया दूसरों के बारे में भी तो सोचो, सब तुम्हारे लिए नहीं इधर जिंदा है. So that thing has changed from that point in my life. That things have changed drastically for me. So before doing anything, I first think यार सामने वाला कुछ कर रहा होगा, कुछ सोच रहा होगा. When I say सामने वाला, I mean my clients. कि यार time zone देखो, look at what time it is. You have to adjust yourself. अगर तुमको जरूरत है ना, तो तुमको से जैसे पढ़ी है कि तुमको अगर चाहिए ना, तो तुम सामने वाला क्या देखो. Don't only think about yourself. Don't let the world circle around you. So that thing changed my life forever, and you have been the best mentor.
First, why I am thinking about thinking before speaking is that was one of the things that KG drilled into me. Speak few, speak true. Padi Hai is taking accountability, but more than that, it is not about finding someone to blame. If things need to be done in any sphere, personal or professional, try and find out what can be controlled. Ensure that you have paid attention to all the details that you can to ensure that things get done on time. And then when all is done, take notes on what can be bettered or not. Because a lot of time people wait for things to, for the right setting. I think Chitra had mentioned this, one of KG's analogies. People wait for the right time, or the perfect time to do things. Don't do that. Make sure that you're ready to do things when things come to you. Situations are not going to come tailored for you. In fact, one of my co-Muscat staying residents, Akshay, he told things about getting medicines. That's one thing I see happening here in Muscat quite a bit to myself personally. He used his Padi Hai opportunity to build a good relationship. And as for people who are just starting off their careers or are in colleges, Padi Hai, make sure that you see what is around you to make best use of your surroundings.
Good morning, good afternoon. Really good session, KG, and it is good to listen from all the aim. Perhaps more or less same feeling, same learning, same understanding, and same gratitude. Nothing different I would like to say here, but thanks a lot. Maybe you are opening the platform for wider audience. That will help. I'm just thinking who I can refer to in my mind while you are speaking. So good. I think.
All right. Thank you very much. So let's kind of close this here. What we are doing, ladies and gentlemen, others, aimers, of course, know me. But if you have joined in, and if you're going to watch this video later on social media, we are launching Campus to Corporate. And that's a program that is a subset of the AIM program. It is not as comprehensive as AIM program, but as effective, hopefully. Subset of the AIM program that we are launching on the social media, specifically targeted at young professionals who are trying to make an impact in their careers. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time here.